What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time we're taking a look at Pacific Heights, starring Matthew Modine, Melanie Griffith, and Michael Keaton, directed by John Schillinger. The story of Pacific Heights is this unmarried couple named Patty Palmer and Drake Goodman put all their funds together to buy this big Victorian house. And at first, everything all seems good. They're getting some tenants so that they can rent these apartments that they have into, until they come across this one man named Carter Hayes, played by Michael Keaton. At first, he comes across as a very, nice, unassuming guy. But as the film progresses, we find out that Carter Hayes is trying to terrorize this young couple, and he doesn't do things that a tenant should do, which is he doesn't pay his rent. He creates a lot of disturbances, and he pretty much manipulates the law to see his favor and to go against the couple that he's terrorizing, all because he wants to get this big Victorian house for his own, because he's the type of person who will cheat people out of their money. So yeah, that is the overall story of Pacific Heights. Let's talk about it. I overall think that this is a good, serviceable psychological thriller. This is not a thriller that you're gonna remember, 10 years, that you're gonna remember after watching it. But it's a movie that has good entertainment value to it. It's got a good enough cast to keep you invested. It's got a simple story that is easy to follow. It's got really good direction by John Schillinger, though there are some moments where I think the direction can be very, very lazy. Case in point, Matthew Modine, who plays the character of Drake Goodman. At first, he comes across as a very mild-mannered type of guy, but once things start to go haywire, he loses his cool really, really fast, and there's no explanation as to why. Well, there is an explanation as to why. He's being cheated by his tenant, but there's no explanation as to why he goes from 0 to 100 within a millisecond. I am not criticizing Matthew Modine in the acting department, because even when he's going nuts, he's still good performance-wise. I chalk it up to very lazy direction on John Schillinger's part. He doesn't do a good job at pacing the emotions of the Drake character. He goes from being a mild-mannered man to a nutcase within a nanosecond, and it really is hard to connect with the character at that from when you look at it like that, mainly because there's no lead up or build up to it. It's like the second Carter doesn't pay his rent once, the guy goes ape shit with not spacing it out some more and actually giving time to build up suspense. That's another gripe about this movie, that I don't think Schilger does a good job at creating an atmosphere of suspense with this film. Mainly because I think this film is really, really rushed. Like this movie goes at a rapid fire pace, and it doesn't give a chance for itself to breathe. And when you're doing psychological thrillers, you want these movies to breathe. You want the audience to be invested into the world that you're creating. But a movie like this, it goes at such a rapid fire pace. It's like it doesn't have a chance to build up any suspense. Doesn't have a chance to like build up the characters properly, nor build up the story nor the tension, which is a shame, because on paper this is a good concept, and it is a good concept. Michael Keaton gives a very, very chilling and really cool, calculating performance as Carter Hayes, the man who's manipulating this couple into trying to take away this Victorian house, and he does these things to try and terrorize him. He's hammering and drilling in the middle of the night. He's bringing cockroaches into the apartment complex, forcing another couple to leave the house. They tried to evict Carter out of the house, but it works against their favor, because legally Carter has every right to be in said house despite not paying the rent, because his name's on the lease. The Carter Hayes character is always one step ahead of everyone, until you get near the end of the movie, where the Patty character goes on her own little investigation, and she turns the tables on him, which leads to a very rushed yet thrilling climax between the Carter, who is revealed to be a man named James Danforth, and Patty. And now I say the climax is rushed because it really is. All in all, everything gets resolved in like 5 minutes, and the guy's killed off. There's no build up. There's no suspense. There's no tension. There's no letting the audience wait for something. There are moments where Schillinger does build up, where Schillinger is on the verge of building up some tension and on the verge of building up suspense, but then he rushes through everything. And I am not a fan of thrillers that rush through everything. Like you can do this movie runs at 100 minutes. Like you can do a 100-minute thriller, keep it fast, keep it going, keep it fast paced, but still have a level of suspense and a level of tension. This movie's not devoid of it, but he doesn't. But it's up at the same time. They're not paced well enough for you to feel any tension or suspense, and I cannot emphasize that enough with this movie. Like every good thriller needs tension, needs suspense, it needs to be built up properly. Look at Psycho. Psycho is one of those movies that has a short runtime, but pretty much Psycho and this movie have the same runtime. Psycho maybe runs about 10 minutes more. But Alfred Hitchcock, he builds up the level of suspense. He builds up the tension. He doesn't rush through anything. The movie's paced the movie has a good pacing, and you're able to be invested in the world and into the characters. If Pacific Heights took like something out of that playbook, this could have been a very damn good psychological thriller. Instead, it just stands as just a good, serviceable, watchable thriller with a overall decent cast, a very easy to follow story. It does have some good moments to it. I think some actors in this movie are a little underutilized. Mostly Carl Lumbly, who plays a tenant, who is actually a police officer. His character is underutilized. I think he should have had more of an active involvement near the end of the movie. And Durian Horwood, who plays a character called Reed, who's pretty much a friend to Drake and Patty. I think his character could have done more as well. But you do get some good cameos from Dan Hedaya and Tracy Walter, so that's fun to see. We get Beverly D'Angelo makes an appearance in this movie as a woman who was messing around with Carter Hayes at the beginning of the movie, and it pretty much acts like his girlfriend in a way. So the movie does have some good moments to it, but overall I find it all just to be very serviceable. So with all that being said, Pacific Heights to me gets a 6.5 out of 10. It's serviceable, it's watchable, it ain't the greatest psychological thriller you'll ever see, but it gets the job done, and it's a good time waster. This is a good time filler type of movie just to watch to kill time. It'll keep you invested, but when it's over, you're not going to remember much about it. So yeah, 6.5 out of 10 for Pacific Heights. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comment sections down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I will check you back next time for more.